In this video, we are going to start adding content to our About page using the plugins we have installed so far. So before adding any content, let's make a few changes to our page. So first, let's get rid of the header image. So let's go back to our dashboard and go to Appearance, Customize. So if you remember, there is a section inside the Customize menu, Header Image. So if you click on it, and then click on the Hide Image button, then the image is going to disappear. Okay, so if you save and publish and refresh the page, you can see that our header image has now disappeared. All right. Next, let's disable comments from our page. So to do this, let's go back to our dashboard and then go to Pages and then access our About page. At the top of the page, you will see a tab, Screen Options. Okay, you just click on that, and then you will see a few checkboxes there. So if you check Discussion, and then you scroll down, then you'll see a new box there, Discussion. Okay, and if you want to disable comments, you just need to click on or uncheck Allow Comments. And now if we update, and then refresh the page, we'll see that comments now are disabled in our page. Okay, so now we are ready to start adding some content. Okay, so let's go back to our page. You will notice that now we've got a new tab there, Page Builder, okay, which came with the plugins we have installed earlier. So before we click on the tab, let's just delete all the content inside our page for now. And now if we click on the Page Builder, we'll see that we've got a panel there with a few buttons. Okay, and we're going to be using some of these buttons to add content to our page. So if you click on Add Widget, you'll see a few widgets there, including the ones which are already embedded in our theme, and also some other widgets that were installed with some plugins like the Site Origin plugin. Okay, all right, let's close this. And now let's move to the next button, Add Row. So if we click on it, we will see that this button will allow us to add rows to our page, just like we did with Bootstrap. So we can add a row and we can choose the number of columns inside our row. So by default, all the columns, they have the same width, but we can change the width of our columns by clicking on the width value and changing that to any value we want. And once we change the value of the width of one column, then all the other columns are going to share the remaining width. Okay, so let's close that. So now we are going to add a new row to our page. Okay, so we're going to add row, and we're going to go for one column only. Okay, so inside this row, we're going to have a header for our page. So let's insert. Okay, so now we've got our row there, and if we click on it, we can add a widget to our row, and this time I'm going to choose the Visual Editor widget, okay, so that we can add some text to our row and other components. Okay, so inside our row now we've got the Visual Editor widget, and if we want to add content to the widgets, let's just click on Edit. All right, so now we can see a visual editor here. It's like a word processor. We can add text, we can add links, okay, and we can add other things like contacts forms, Google Map, and so on. And you can always switch to the text version, okay, which is going to show some HTML code. So let's go back to the visual version. So if we write some text there, for example, this is some text, then we can style our text. So we can make it bold. We can also align it if we want to, okay? And if you click on the text tab, you will see the corresponding HTML code of our text, okay? And also, if we save and update, we can see the results on our page, okay? All right, so let's go back to the editor. So let's create a title or a header for our page. We make great websites. Okay, this is going to be headline, and let's add a subheadline saying that will take your business to the next level. Okay, we can style our widgets using the widget styles on the right hand side. So we can use attributes. So we can give our widgets a class. So for example, we can give it a class blue, okay? And we can then set some CSS styling for this class blue. So for example, we can set the background color to blue, okay? So we can also change the layout and add some padding. Okay, let's add 10 pixels padding. And also we can change the design by changing the background color, which we've already done in the CSS, okay? Or choosing a background image. And also we can choose how we want to display our image, okay? So for now, let's just try the styling that we have so far and refresh our page once this has been processed. Okay, so now we can see our headline and our subheadline, and we can see the styling that we have chosen at the moment. Okay, so let's go back and change this styling. So let's click on edit, and let's go to the attributes, and let's just delete this CSS styling for now. Okay, let's keep the layout as it is, and let's change the design, and let's choose a background image. Okay, so let's choose an image. Let's pick up any image just to test. So I'm going to pick up this one. Okay, and then we can choose the way we want to display our image. Let's go for cover, for example. Okay, and we can choose a border color if we want to, and a font color as well. Okay, so if we click on done and then update the page and then refresh, so we can see our text and background image. At the moment, we only see parts of our background image as we're using the image as a cover. If we add more content, then we'll see a bigger part of our image. So for example, if we add some line breaks after the subheadline and we save, then we'll see a bigger part of the image. Okay. All right. So now let's remove our image by going back to design and clicking on remove. Okay, background image. So if we click on, okay, or before we save, let's just add some space before the headline. Let's have a line break, and let's delete all the line breaks that we added after the subheadline. So let's save and update and refresh the page. Okay, so now we can see our headline and subheadline, and we have some space just before the headline. There is another way of adding space before our headline. We're going to use a plugin called Spacer. So let's go to plugins and install this plugin. So let's click on add new. And let's look for Spacer. Okay, so it's the first one here. If we click on install now, then let's activate our plugin. Okay, so now let's go back to our page. And let's go inside our visual editor. So now we can see a new icon there for the spacer. Okay, so let's delete our first line break and just click on the spacer. Okay, so we've got our spacer now added, so we can just have a line break right after the spacer. Okay, so if we look at our code, now we'll see that we've got a paragraph at the beginning. Okay, and we've got a spacer inside of height 20 pixels, and then we've got our our headline and subheadline. Okay, we can change the height of our spacer if we want to. Let's go for 30 pixels, and let's save and update our page. And now if we refresh, we can see that we've got some space there, 30 pixels, just before the headline. Now we are going to style our headline and subheadline. So to do that, we're going to add a class to each of them. So we're going to go back to our visual editor. Okay, and this time we are going to go to the text tab so that we can see the HTML code. So we're going to add a class to the headline paragraph, and let's call it headline. And also we're going to add a class to the subheadline, and let's call it subheadline. Okay. So there is one way of adding styling to these elements that we have covered earlier. It's by using the custom CSS. So let's save this and update. So the custom CSS, we can find it in appearance, theme options, and then custom CSS. So we've seen earlier how we can add CSS styling here by adding an ID or class, and then add the styling that we want. But this time we are going to follow another route. We are going to style our elements using Google Fonts, which is a plugin that we need to install, and we're going to do that in the next video.